Jair Martinez with Fight Hub TV, powered by Stagefront. Robert, first of all, Happy New Year. It's always a good pleasure to speaking with you. I know we're getting started with a new year. Obviously, a lot of goals for yourself as a trainer for your team. How are you, by the way?
I'm doing good, bro. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's Happy New Year to you too.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're busy with your grandchild right now, right? On this weekend.
You know what, when I don't have fights on the weekends, that's what I try to do the most. And even during the week to the gym, I take him at least 2 to 3 times a week. So he has a good time. He's with us all the time.
Robert, that's another full-time job being a grandfather.
It is. Robert, that kid he's pretty much our kids, because he spends the night with us, with me and my wife, and goes everywhere we go. So he's pretty much our kids. We're loving the moment right now.
Yeah, that's good, Robert. That's really good. Robert, obviously there's a lot to talk about. The year's barely getting started.
I don't want to do this interview. If you have that flag in the back right there, bro. Honestly, bro, you gotta cover it. Come on, bro. Come on. I just noticed that.
I kind of did that on purpose.
I kind of figured you probably did it on purpose. So that means you don't like me.
I kind of did that on purpose. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it this time. But I had some other stuff.
Yeah,
maybe I'll move a little more weird. No.
Okay. Robert, okay. Now let me see. Now, if you have a fucking picture of me getting knocked out by Corrales or something, then you're fucked up.
No. That's Chavez and Macho Camacho. Then that's
yeah,
and then that's Muhammad Ali, and then I got more other stuff. Robert, there's a lot to talk about, and as a prestige trainer yourself with a lot of experience, a lot of champions that you have under your belt, I want to get your thoughts overall of Gervonta Tank's performance over Hector Garcia Luis Garcia. Great performance overall, you could say. What was your overall thought on Tank's performance? Because at first, people were saying, fans were a little bit critical that, Gervonta was down on the scores, that, I guess he timed them correctly, broke them down. So what's your overall thought on Tank's performance?
Well, I think, watching the fight and as the rounds went by, I was also thinking the same, like what's going on? Why is he losing rounds, or why is he giving rounds away? But at the end, from the way he finished it, the way he picked it up in the 8th round, it just tells you, how good he is and how smart, how experienced. So it was pretty much at the moment that he decided to do it, he did it. In previous rounds, as you could see, he was a little distracted from the crowd. There was a little fight that broke out, and he stopped fighting to look at the crowd, where we've never seen something like that happen. Even though there's fights, the fight continues. The fighters don't waste their time looking back to see who's fighting. So I think he was a little distracted. There was even moments during the breaks where he was out there calling people out, or like talking to people out in the crowd. So that I didn't like. I thought, that it could be a problem, and especially against the real challenge, the Ryan Garcia type of fights, the bigger names, but his performance that night was great. He did what he had to do when he decided to do it. I thought if he would have wanted to, he could have finished the fight in 3 or 4 rounds, because all he had to do was pressure. I know Hector Garcia, he actually trained in my gym, and you know what? He became a champion. He's still a champion, if I'm not mistaken. He could easily go back down to 130 and defend his title. It's one thing that him and Adames, who both were there together, and they both left together. I think that's the best thing that could have happened to him. With me, Top Rank had already dropped Adames. There was no promoter interested in Hector Garcia, so I had nothing for them, honestly. So I had to tell the manager that, you got to find him something else. You got to take him somewhere else. So he took him to Vegas, and the best thing that could have happened to them, they found what's his name training them now. ¿Cómo se llama este?
Bob Santos.
Santos, yeah, great person, great trainer, and look, both became champions. One of them just had the biggest fight of his career, where he's in Dominican Republic. That fight changed his life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where when they were with me, we couldn't get them fights. I was struggling. I was getting calls. Like last minute calls, 1 week calls for Adames. Is he ready to fight Munguia in 1 week? Stuff like that. Now that he got connected to Bob Santos, he they're great. So that's why I'm happy for them, because they're great people, and they deserve what they got. Yeah, being with me, I'm telling you, it happened, and we even got a little bit mad at Adames for not taking the fight, because they did call us like in a week notice, 2 weeks, and we're like, but you've been training, bro. Let's take the fight. We don't have anything else for you against Munguia. But he says no. He decided not to. That was the best thing he could have done. But I was desperate. I couldn't get him or anything. So we were telling him, you got to get it, bro. I think we could beat Munguia. But he decided not to. Then that's when I said I don't have anything for you. So we send them to they send them to Vegas, and look, their careers changed, their life changed. So Hector Garcia, man, a great person, great kid. Told me, Robert, it was in my decision. Our manager is sending us to Vegas. I'm like, that's the best thing that he could do. And look at them. They both became champion last year. So I'm really happy for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's as very simple as it says. Everything happens for a reason. But going back, I mean, we'll touch more a little bit Munguia and Cabaya. That would have been a really great fight, Robert. That fight would have been very explosive. I think if that fight would ever happen. But going back to Tank, you talked about a lot of pinpoints and that I liked, a lot of things I want to talk about. But the distractions that Tank probably had going into the fight, obviously what was happening, in his personal life. Do you think that was one of the reasons why he wasn't fully focused going into that fight? Do you think that's possibly the main problem?
It had to be a reason, a problem, but from what I see and the way I see his life is going, and the popularity he's getting, and all the attention he gets, he has a big following from just celebrities, you know what I mean? So I think he's getting so much distractions that it doesn't have to be because of the problems he just personally had, with his girlfriend, stuff like that, or wife, whatever it is. I think it's just his character now. I think it'll be the same thing fighting anybody else. I think he will be, he has that going on in his life already. His life is just totally different than a few years ago. And I'm not saying he's taking it the wrong way, because he still performs, he still goes out there and takes care of it. But it could be a little bit of a problem.
But I want to touch base as well on another comment and a lot of things that's been circling, which I don't fully agree with, just because being around a lot of fighters, obviously, covering the sport. But Teddy Atlas had harsh criticism with Hector Garcia. A lot of fans on social media were very critical. You expect that by fans on social media. But they kept on saying that Hector Garcia quit on his stool. And for somebody to say that a boxer quits on a stool, it's an insult. It's a very big insult for a fighter, for a trainer, for the team. What's your personal thoughts on that? As what my personal opinion is, I don't think he quit. I just think he got hit so hard that he was possibly concussed and he just didn't know where he was at. I don't think he quit. I think he just was concussed and he just didn't know where he was at. I don't know what you think about Teddy Atlas's comments about that and also about the fans.
No, look. The thing is that I also understand Teddy Atlas. When you're in a fight, you're a fighter, you're a warrior. You're supposed to. You have to have that mentality of, it's stupid to say it, but fighters die in the ring. You have to fight to the end, like being in war. That's just the mentality fighters need to have. And I don't disagree with Teddy Atlas, because he did decide not to continue. So that is quitting in the stool. But I also understand that, he ain't stupid either, to go out there and get knocked the fuck out, because he would have. It would have been really, really bad, or it would have been ugly. It could have ruined his life, not only his career, it could have ruined his life. Like this, he's good to fight again. He's still champion. He'll go defend his title again and make decent money at 130. So I think he did the right, smart move. He's still healthy enough to come back and fight again. But as a fighting person, I agree with Teddy. He did quit. He did quit on the stool. He decided not to continue. Where we've seen so many other fighters, are taking worse beatings, and they still give me one more round, because they're still trying. But at the end, it might not be the right thing to do. I think you got to see it both ways. So for me, I feel that he made the right decision, because he's good enough to go defend his title at 130. But then for the boxing people, for the ones that are hardcore, nah, you're a fighter, you got to fight. It was quitting. He did quit in the stool.
Going into the 8th, 9th round, I think it was the 9th round when he didn't come out, or the end of the 8th, going into the 9th. What would you have done if Hector, if you knew that he still had it in him, and he had that mentality, like, I'm done? Like, what would you have told him in the corner? Hey, man, like, you got to go out on your shield, or what have you would have told him at that moment, Robert?
With Hector, I would have, just like Bob Santos did. Okay, that's it. That's enough, because I'm not gonna go send them back to get hurt. There's cases where there's been fighters. Perfect example. I'm gonna give you a Brandon Rios type of fighter. It's different, bro. It's different when you're talking to a Brandon Rios than a Hector Garcia. Totally different, because I know Hector from the gym too. I know Hector sparring guys in my gym where a few occasions pretty much do the same thing. So I know. That's why when you bring a fighter into a fight, and after a round he gets hit pretty hard and he says that's it, bro. Don't send him back there to get hurt. But then there's fighters that won't quit, that will force you or get mad at you, or punch you if you stop a fight. It's just different fighters, different type of
mentality.
Hearts. It's just what it is. Yeah.
It's those Brandon Rios that you had, the Fernando Vargas. Like, we spoke with Fernando Vargas. He's like, nope. He's like, I beat champions, and by the people that I got beat, I said all of them can tell you that I was still a dog in the fight. Like, I would not quit. You would have to bring me down as much as you could, but I will still get up. So I guess it bottles down to
if I'm working the corner of a Fernando Vargas, and we're in the same situation where there's a round where you might get hit a few times or anything, I'm still gonna let him fight. Of course I am, because I know he still has that dog in him, that chance where his heart could turn everything around. Brandon Rios, Fernando Vargas against Trinidad, we all remember, and he still was actually able to get the fight to where it was very close at before the last round. So those situations. But when you have a fighter like Hector Garcia, who even in the gym is not giving you what the Fernando Vargas is or the Brandon Rios give you, then you got to know when it's enough. That's it. Especially when he was the one that brought it up. He's the one that brought it up. You don't want to tell him. You don't want to tell him, no, you're crazy. You are going to continue fighting. You definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And even just to add another one, you had Marcos Maidana as well. Just the dog in the fight. Yeah. Like, don't stop. Like, I'm gonna keep going.
With Marcos Maidana, there was a fight. I think it was our first fight together with Soto Caras. I think he got hit in the body, but it wasn't really bothering like a liver shot. It was more like in the hip or something. Mm-hmm. So he came to the corner. See, but this is the different type of people that you got to know how to deal with. He came to the corner and was complaining, oh, my side is hurting really bad. Didn't say he wanted to quit, but he told me, oh man, I don't know what I can do. He got me with a body shot, but it was in the bone and it's bothering me. And I had told him, I don't care about that. You're gonna go out and beat the shit out of this guy, because I know he could, and I knew he was. He was. So you have to push him that way. When Santos, after that last round, Santos knew his fighter had no chance. So I think they made the right choice.
That makes sense now. Now that makes me understand a little bit more, just going into a fight, because obviously the trainer needs to know the fighter in a deep perspective. And you obviously, with him, the all training camp, and you can see, when he can take fights, or when can he take a punch, when he cannot. But, moving forward with that fight, obviously the big fight that everybody's talking about, I guess we can say the mega fight is now that it's leading, that it's in works for sure, that Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis, or Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. First question for you is: do you think it was ideally smart for Ryan to not take a tune-up fight? Like Oscar De La Hoya said, I prefer him to stay busy, but I understand why he wants to be 100% going into the fight in April. What's your overall thoughts on that first question?
Just like Oscar De La Hoya said, I think it's Ryan's decision, but I think the best thing for him would have like to take a stay fight. But then he also wants to just focus on the big one, and I don't blame him for that either. So you could go either way. But me personally, as a trainer, I would have preferred him take a stay busy fight.
But then there's that argument, Robert, that people say, "Well, stay busy fight." But what about if he would hurt himself, and then they would have pushed the fight back later? Or what about something would have happened, and then we possibly would never gotten the fight in April? That's also the argument that fans have, and which it makes sense. It makes sense, and I understand Ryan's perspective. Now going to this fight, Robert, almost equal fighters. Let's just be honest; they're both almost equal fighters. Obviously, in my personal opinion, I feel like Ryan Garcia has a height and reach advantage. Tank Davidson also, for myself, is that I think he has the IQ in the ring. Like Fernando Vargas Jr. was saying yesterday when we spoke with him. He says, yeah, he'll play with you, he'll box you, then he'll relax, he'll let you get confident, and boom, that's when he strikes. And that's when I believe that Tank, people don't appreciate him. It's not just a knockout. Tank breaks you down. So that's why this fight's basically 50-50. What is your overall breakdown of that potential fight that we're going to get this year?
It is a 50-50 fight, and you can't really pick a winner because anything could happen in this fight. But I think that the way Tank fight, and everybody always looks at the last fight, the performance from the last fight. So if I see Tank going in the ring, which I'm pretty sure will not happen, but if we see Tank going in the ring with the same attitude, same mentality, same distractions into a fight against Ryan, if he's taking it easy the first few rounds, let him get away with a few rounds, he's in trouble. He's in trouble against Ryan. He cannot do that against Ryan. I think Ryan is just too fast, too strong, that he'll be in trouble. And like I said, everybody always goes by their last performance. So if he is to fight and give away rounds like he did to Garcia, then I think he's in trouble. I really believe Ryan's gonna catch him. Ryan will catch him, especially being a lefty, stepping in with his jab or a straight left. He's gonna have to be reaching in because Ryan's a taller guy, and that check hook that Ryan has is so fucking fast, man, that people don't even see it. I think Tank will be in trouble, bro. It's just that's my pick, But Tank's also so smart, so technical in the ring, where he's patient, takes his time. Where it could be the opposite. Also, it could be the other way around too. One punch from Tank could also finish the fight. We all seen Ryan get dropped already, and that's one thing that's also going to be the question. How much can Ryan take from Tank?
Do you also think that this fight could potentially end in a knockout? Because it's Ryan, like you said, he has those sneaky punches, a sneaky left hook. Like even when a lot of the videos that were shown when he knocked out his previous fighter, it was a left hook that you don't even see. It was just so fast, and people don't really realize that Ryan's just so fast with power that it's just like it's that brutal knockout. Do you think it could end in a knockout, either or?
I think the fight will end by knockout. Either way, just like Ryan could knock Tank out, just like as easy as Tank knocking Ryan out. I think the fight does end in a knockout. It's going to be such a good fight, man. Honestly, I'm just hoping that it does happen. There's always injuries. There's always stuff that goes on in training camps that people don't know and don't see. But, I hope this fight does happen because it's going to be a really, really good fight.
And going back to the first question about, Ryan taking off, not having a tune-up fight. Let's be honest, who would really have the advantage on that? Because Tank's coming off already, he won't have ring rust per se. he's more active, but Ryan's healthier, no injuries. Because going into a training camp, a fighter always comes to a fight with a lot of injuries. Do you think that also could be a part of the fight? That be part of, I guess, an issue going in, like having no fight, having a fight. What do you think about that?
Well, I hope we don't see ring rust and Ryan because he hasn't fought. So that's the only question. But Tank came out clean. I'm sure he didn't have any injuries in the fight. He didn't get hit hard to a point where he got stunned or hurt. So he's fresh. Hopefully his hands are also great. He didn't hurt his hands. And at the end, I think Tank is the one that took the chance to fight and to get that ring rust out. So that might favor him. But once the bell rings, man, it's crazy because
Yeah,
anything
that
could
all goes
happen
out
in
the
boxing,
window.
man.